Story time about how I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me for 3 months straight at his new job. So whenever all this happened, I was a senior in high school and my boyfriend had just graduated. And we were both living at his mom's because I had some family stuff going on at the time, so I was like staying there during the summer. Well, my boyfriend had to quit his job because they were shutting down and he had worked there for over 3 years. So he started looking for a new job and he found one that was literally 3 minutes down the street from his mom's house. And it was a sports bra and grill, so he started working there. Well, after working there for I think about a month, his brother had came home from jail. And his brother was looking for a job at the time whenever he got out of jail, so my boyfriend of course was like, hey, why don't you come work with me? And his brother was all for it, you know, he was excited to be working with his brother. Well, I want to say about 2 weeks after his brother went to work with him, he came home the one night and he had told me about this one girl who had given him her phone number. And he took it out of his pocket and it was a piece of paper with her phone number on it. So my boyfriend and I had had problems in the past with like trust issues and stuff like that. But at this time, I had kind of gotten over it because it happened a long time ago when we first started dating. So whenever this happened, my trust issues started to creep back in, you know? Because I started thinking, well, why did she feel comfortable enough giving you her phone number to talk about her problems with you? Because that's the reason why she apparently gave him her phone number, was so that way they could talk about her problems. Sis, get a therapist. There is no reason for that. Anyways, so of course this pisses me off. I tell him to throw the phone number away and I asked him what the girl's name was and he said her name was Sadie. And of course after that, Sadie was #1 on my hit list. Just kidding. Well, after that, he starts going into work really early and staying very late. And whenever I had talked with him about it, he was always blaming it on somebody else or something else. He would be like, well, I had to close tonight because nobody else wanted to stay and close. Somebody didn't do their job right tonight, so I had to stay and do their job. And it was just really weird because, you know, you would expect that to happen maybe like not so often, but it was literally happening every single day that he had work. So yeah, at that point things were just getting very weird and it was making me question a lot of things. Well, then the next red flag that happened that I should have noticed was that he started having issues with me dropping him off and picking him up from work. Because I had always dropped him off and picked him up at work. For some reason, he like started having an issue with it. He was like, no, he was like, I can do it myself, like, you know, you don't need to do that. And so of course that also was weirding me out because that's weird. Why are you just gonna start having a problem with me picking you up and dropping you off at work? And he was the one with the car, so that meant that I was literally stuck at his parents' house all day and I didn't have a car. Well, the one day I remember I had begged him to use the car because I had some errands to run that day, and he let me use the car. So like I said, he let me drop him off and used the car that day. Well, when I went to pick him up that night, there were these 3 girls sitting outside, and there was one specifically that was giving me an absolute death stare. You would have thought that I literally like screwed her boyfriend. Yeah, no, but she was just like giving me a really nasty look and I had no idea why, but I just kind of ignored it. Well, a few days after that, my boyfriend and his brother got into this huge argument because my boyfriend had told me that his brother was flirting with girls at work. And at the time, his brother's girlfriend was like one of my best friends. Love her, by the way. So what did I do? Of course I told her. Like, why am I not gonna tell her? So I went and told her. So she was flipping out on her boyfriend. And can I just say something? I don't think that he was flirting with other girls at work. I really think that it was just a ploy for my boyfriend to kind of get the attention off of him onto his brother and the fact that he was doing things wrong. So of course I told her and they got into a big argument. We're gonna call my boyfriend like Derek or something. Yeah, we're gonna call him Derek. So his brother calls me and he was flipping out on on Derek before that, and he calls me and he says, right hand up to God, Derek is screwing a girl named Sadie. I'm literally freaking out on my boyfriend, but I don't know who to believe, because the thing is like, they are always playing pranks on each other. You know, you don't know when they're serious. They'll literally like make these jokes up, you know, say, oh yeah, like she's cheating on you with blah 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 blah, as a joke. Anyways, so what do? I do what any reasonable girlfriend would do. I go into my boyfriend's room and I start screaming at him. And he had been texting his brother, and I told him, I said, let me see your text messages between you and your brother. And before he gives me his phone, he literally swipes over and deletes the conversation between him and his brother. So I went over and I grabbed his computer, which is connected to his phone. Like the text messages go onto his computer also. So I grab his computer and I look at the text on there. And it still looked like some were missing, but the only thing that it said was, please don't do it. My boyfriend had sent that to his brother. So now I'm obviously very, very sketched out, but my dumbass is still believing him. Love that for me. So because I'm a dumbass, I end up believing my boyfriend, and that night I was just so pissed off. I told him, hey, like, I'm gonna go to my friends tonight. Like, I can't be around you. I need time to think. Well, fast forward, I guess him and his brother stopped fighting, and his brother told me, he was like, yeah, no, I was lying about the whole thing. Like, he didn't do anything. He's very loyal to you. Whatever. But yeah, that was the end of that situation. So we hadn't really talked about it again after that. I was still having like inklings that like he was cheating on me, which were totally correct, and I find out every single time, so I don't even know why he lies to me about it. So yeah, that situation was over and done with. So a month after that whole situation, fall time rolls around. My boyfriend moves out of his parents' house. I couldn't move out yet because I was not 18, and that's whenever him and I started having troubles in our relationship, even more than we did before. He just was not caring about me and how I felt in the relationship. He never wanted to be around me. He would always choose his friends over me. So at that point, I had just had enough and I broke up with him. Did I want to get back with him 2 hours after I broke up with him? Yes. Did I? No. I decided that I was going to be a strong, independent woman at that time. So I decided, why not make a Tinder? Was I underage? Yes. Did I put jailbait in my bio? Yes, I did. So that's that. I pretty much made a Tinder, and I guess literally the day after I made mine, one of Derek's friends decided to tell Derek to make a Tinder also. So he makes a Tinder, and the first person he sees on there is me. So I left school early that day, and I get a text message from Derek saying, you are such a whore. So at that point, I'm like really pissed off. I'm like, I don't care, like, do what you want. Like, sorry that you're angry that I'm deciding to move on. Like, not my fault. By the way, if you ever break up with your boyfriend, get a Tinder. That shit is a confidence boost. You will literally have all these guys telling you that you're so hot, and it's so nice to just reject them. So I guess my bad bitch parade had ended because I got really lonely the one night, and I had texted him asking what he was doing, and he pretty much said nothing. So what did I do? I went to his house, and when I was there, we had talked about things, and I asked him, I said, I want to know the truth about everything. I said, I already know half of what's going on, but I want to know what you meant by that text message. I didn't know anything, by the way. This kid literally just told on himself every single time that he cheated on me. He was literally so freaking dumb. He says there was this girl at work, and I said, what's her name? He told me her real name now, and I said, did you do the nasty with her? And he said, yeah. I said, how many times? And at this time, I'm kind of like holding back my tears because my boyfriend was a sociopath, and if he saw you putting out any emotion, he would base his emotion off of that. So anytime that he cries too, I literally just ignore him because he just does it to make you feel bad instead of actually crying because he feels bad. So I'm sitting there with a straight face, and I'm like, you know, how many times, where, when, like blah 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 blah. He says, I don't know how many times. And at that point, that already makes me think, oh great, like you were going into work every single day and screwing this girl while you were there. Nice. I slept there that night because it was like, it was too late for me to go home. No, he did not do anything. I literally slept on the couch. He slept in his bedroom because I was not about to do that. But I made him think that I was fine with it. Like, you know, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, like, It's in our past. Just promise you'll never hurt me again. So the next day I wake up and I go to school. I left school early that day. I went home. I went to my dad's house and I pretty much just stayed home for majority of the day. And that night I had found that girl on Snapchat, which was very stupid of me because I am all about not blaming the girl. Like before, I had such like a nasty mentality of it was the girl's fault, not the guy's, which is totally not the case. So I will never ever go off on a girl if I ever find out that my boyfriend is cheating on me with a girl, because it's just, they're not the one in your committed relationship. So I find this girl on Instagram and I find her on Snapchat, and like I said, I add her on Snapchat, and when I see her Instagram bio is literally, I'm your boyfriend's favorite. Her pictures are all captioned stuff about screwing girls' boyfriends. I didn't know that was a trend, but actually a lot of girls like to do that. I think like a few weeks ago, this girl was talking on the phone saying how she loves fucking guys with boyfriends. Love that for you, sis, just not for me. So at that point, I'm getting really angry because when I'm looking on all these photos, like her captions are literally just disgusting. And I add her on Snapchat. And I text her and I say that, you know, like, you're nasty, you're a whore, blah, 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 blah. Just like me being any jealous, insecure girlfriend. And I let the emotions get the best of me that night. But it was really funny because, like, she was talking to me and she was like, it's not my fault your boyfriend wanted to screw me, and you know, it's not my fault that I'm better looking than you, blah 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 blah, just this, that, and the next. So like, I'm really letting this girl get under my skin. Like, I'm like really pissed off. Like at this point, I really wanted to go to this girl's house and just like do some very not nice things. So soon enough, I find out that the owner of the restaurant that he was working at, that's his daughter. So I'm ready to literally call their work and be like, your daughter's a whore. Like, she's literally screwing people in your back kitchen and stuff like that where the food is. But instead, I just block her on Snapchat because I knew that I was letting my emotions get the best of me. And I sneak out of my dad's house that night and go to my friend's house. Well, when I went to my friend's house, her boyfriend was best friends with my boyfriend. This is not his brother's girlfriend, by the way. This is just one of my best friends. And her boyfriend decides to come clean on some things that my boyfriend had told him. And he's like, yeah, no, like, he always was telling me about how when he would go into work, there would be these girls all over him. He was screwing 2 girls at work every single day whenever he went in there. So at this point, I'm literally livid. Like, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I feel like the worst part about it all was the fact that because I had so many trust issues from him in the past, he was coming home like every night, and like when I would talk to him about how I was feeling, about how, you know, I was having doubts, you know, about him being faithful, he would be like, I don't know why you feel like that. Like, I've been so loyal. Like, I'm actually so proud of myself because I haven't done anything wrong. After that, I call and I tell him that I pretty much know everything. And I found out the reason why everything happened the way it did. So he was going into work early and staying later so he could screw this girl at work. Actually, these 2 girls at work. And the reason why he did not want me picking him up and dropping him off was because apparently this girl had a plan to come to the car and beat my ass because she wanted my boyfriend. So yeah, pretty much after that, everything started making sense and him and I broke up.